But the next question is, if you could trade places with a celebrity, which celebrity would that be?
Trade places.
अभी
I mean, I
अबरार
feel like
लगना कहना यार.
and this is social media is like one of the prime examples where people do not
Yeah.
think and just do stuff, right? Virality के ऊपर या fame के ऊपर या मतलब जो जहाँ चल रहा होता है वहाँ चल जाते हैं. तो रिपोर्ट करने के बावजूद भी वो नया अकाउंट बना के आ जाते थे.
बना
6 दफा
लेते,
बंद हुआ है अकाउंट, वो नया बना लेते हैं.
हाँ.
तो and I would never understand like why are you so obsessed? क्या आपको इससे मिलेगा? Just own up to yourself.
It's from the time when we used to use, अब तुम्हें तो शायद पता भी नहीं होगा मतलब, but before Facebook we used to have Orkut, तो हम Orkut use किया करते थे.
I've heard of it, yeah.
You've heard of it? I have used
Yeah.
it.
I mean, my mom has always said, चीज बुरी नहीं होती, उसके use जिस तरह होता है वो उसको बुरा या अच्छा बनाता है. And social media is like basically the prime example of it. The other day I was talking to a friend and she was saying कि उसके भाई ने, he got more religious specifically because of TikTok, because उसके TikTok पे इतने scholars and they were talking about stuff and he got more interested in learning about this stuff. So there's that side of TikTok too, and then there's another side जो I mean everyone knows.
यार देखो, as people who are developing, who are feeding content into social media, I think it's also a responsibility कि यार हमें भी पता हो कि यार कैसे चेंज किस तरह होगा. मतलब जैसे मेरी कमिटमेंट ये है कि यार whatever I am producing, I don't know if it's entertaining enough or not, but at the end of the day it should add some real value to the person who's consuming it.
Exactly. लोग अब जिस तरह की उनकी सोच है वो उसी तरह perceive करेंगे, चाहे आपने जो कहा ना भी हो. And for some period of time it was very like bothering to me कि मैंने ऐसा नहीं कहा. Why are you? I noticed कि मैं कोई भी वीडियो डालूंगी ना, let's say you're talking about point A, and then उसके बाद वो जो comment section में आएंगी ना बातें, वो politics के ऊपर चली जाएंगी, and that will be one country like throwing hate over the other country's politics और इस तरह. And पूरी वीडियो की रीजन वायरल होने की क्या होगी, वो उस तरह के comments, and then it will just be a war zone in the comment section.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. This is Ammaar bin Saleem. Welcome to another episode of Outloud with Ammaar. This is season 3. We're recording episode 5 and I've been joined by a very dear friend of mine who has joined us from Canada. She is a social media content creator and produces wonderful content. Areej Khalid. Areej, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you for that introduction.
Thanks to you for joining us. As we were just discussing, आप अपनी क्लास से अभी आए हो and I can only imagine यार कितना मुश्किल होता होगा क्लास से सीधा यार एक पॉडकास्ट करना है. So
नहीं, I mean the pleasure is all mine firstly, and don't worry, मतलब I like juggling school and then content creation and stuff, so it's perfectly fine for me.
हम उस juggling के बारे में भी बात करेंगे. You're producing some of the more remarkable videos that I am seeing. Very decent content, alhamdulillah, mashallah. क्योंकि social media पे you get to see everything. So उसमें जो है ना, it's very easy to pick the decent content out आराम से. So we'll talk about that, but first tell me about yourself, your early upbringing. Where was that?
Well, अच्छा तो मैं पैदा हुई थी जद्दा, Saudi Arabia. Actually not Jeddah, Saudi Arabia में specifically Makkah में. And then I lived in Jeddah my entire life. So I moved there to Jeddah when I was about like, I don't know, probably a month. My mom told me. So I lived in Jeddah for about 14, 15 years.
Up to Jeddah, down to Makkah.
Yeah, basically. So I've been like basically raised there. My upbringing was there for most of my life. और उसके बाद I was about 14 to 15 when I moved to Canada. And ever since then, I've been living in Canada.
So you've never really lived in Pakistan?
नहीं, I haven't. I've been to Pakistan like छुट्टियों में, जब मेरे cousins की शादियां हो रही होती थी, हर छुट्टी में, हर summer में हो रही होती थी. So that was the highlight of my, summer vacation. So I've been to Pakistan on vacations like very often.
So whenever you would come to Pakistan in your summer vacation, so your mama and your baba would put you in Urdu crash courses. उसमें कर देते थे. You have wonderful Urdu, by the way. मतलब पता नहीं चल रहा है कि you've never lived in Pakistan.
Thank you. नहीं, कोई crash course नहीं हुआ. घर पे उर्दू ही बोलते थे हम लोग.
मुझे लगा, मैंने कहा ये वो होते ना यहाँ पे जैसे पाकिस्तान में होते हैं यार, आप स्पोकन इंग्लिश सीखे. मैंने कहा शायद स्पोकन उर्दू की क्लासेस भी होती होंगी.
I was basically, हम जद्दा में ही थे और हम लोग उर्दू में ही बोलते थे घर में भी, और उर्दू इंग्लिश मिक्स ही होता था. I think primarily उर्दू ही होती थी. फिर उसके बाद स्कूल में I was in an international school, तो उर्दू भी क्लासेस होती थी, अरबिक क्लासेस भी होती थी, फिर इस्लामियात भी होता था. तो सारे इस तरह I was always like involved with the Desi side of me.
तो देसी साइड, हाँ नहीं सही है, मेरा ख्याल है वी कैन नेवर रियली टेक आउट देसी साइड आउट ऑफ आवर लाइव्स, वो तो हो ही नहीं सकता, रिगार्डलेस ऑफ हाउ फैंसी वी ट्राई टू बिकम और वी आर फोर्स टू बिकम, वो देसी साइड जो है वो जैसे नेवर रियली गोज अवे, मेरा ख्याल है वो जानी भी नहीं चाहिए, वो शायद आपकी
I
आइडेंटिटी।
agree with you. No, I agree with you. मुझे actually बहुत अच्छा लगता है when people own up to their desi sides, because I don't know, I guess when I moved to Canada मैंने देखा था कि बहुत समझा जाता था to be like desi fob, the terminology
या
और इस तरह की बातें, तो initially जब मैं नई नई आई थी तो I was like, अच्छा, you know, I saw people try to suppress the desi side और बहुत
या
अंग्रेज बनने की कोशिश कर, not that there's anything wrong with it, but I'm also
हाँ
saying there's also nothing wrong with being you. So I've always just had this. I'm like, नहीं भाई, मैं full देसी हूँ, देसी उर्दू बोलती हूँ, गाने सुनती हूँ, you know, मतलब पाकिस्तानी शलवार कमीज और चीजें मतलब खाने
या
वगैरह इस तरह, तो I'm like, I'm gonna own up to that. And I guess somehow I try to incorporate that in my social media journey as well. So
हाँ
I really love owning up to that. But Pakistani ho, own up to it. Show
या
people, like, be
What's
proud
wrong
about it.
about that यार, मतलब what's really wrong about that? You're a Pakistani यार, so मतलब there is a certain culture, वो आपको follow करना है, वो आपने हमेशा follow किया अपने घर के अंदर यार, तो उसको मतलब exactly you will bring that out ना, आप कुछ और तो नहीं लेके आओगे।
पाकिस्तान में ज़्यादा होता है, again, I
हम्म
don't want Pakistan people coming at me, but I think क्योंकि वहाँ पे इंग्लिश बोलने वालों को एक आइडिया है कि पॉश समझा जाता है, जो you
या
know like वेस्टर्न कॉन्सेप्ट को बहुत, you know, बचपन में भी अम्मी अबू बोलते हैं बेटा इंग्लिश में। I saw a video the other day, वो एक ड्रामे की थी I think, and she was like, बेटा चिकन बोटीज खाएं ऐसे
रोटीज का
करके, right? Yeah, so, उसके ऊपर मजाक लोग उड़ाए थे कि वो डिफेंस के इस तरह का मजाक बन रहा था, but
हाँ अच्छा
again the concept comes कि पाकिस्तान में, मतलब मैंने आज तक पाकिस्तान में ही देखा तो इसलिए मैं उसको उस
या
कैटेगरी में डाल रही हूँ, but it's considered, I mean it's उसको ज्यादा तरजीह दी जाती है, तो
या
I guess यहीं से फिर उस अगर आप देख लें तो इंग्लिश बोलने वाला फौरन, बेशक ही कोई क्या क्यों ना हो, लेकिन उसको फौरन पेडिस्टल पे खड़ा कर दिया जाएगा, तो
हाँ
उधर से ये आई थिंक स्टार्ट होती है और फिर आगे तक चली जा रही है।
नहीं यार सही बात है, सर सही वैसे कह रहे हैं, मतलब इट्स नॉट टू ग्रिल एनीवन हियर इन पाकिस्तान, आई एम हियर, जैसे पहले लोगों ने कहना है उन्होंने मुझे ही कहना है बिफोर दे रीच आउट टू यू तो मगर मेरा ख्याल है दिस इज करेक्ट, वी डू प्लेस certain value on the people जो कि बोल सकते हैं ना उसके अंदर, so yeah, you're absolutely right, but coming back to Saudi and Canada, so what made you guys move to Canada? Saudi मजे का नहीं था ज़्यादा उसके बाद?
No, Saudi was, I think it was good until I lived, like, जब तक मैं वहाँ रहती थी मेरे लिए अच्छा था because I had nothing to compare it to. But I
Yeah.
think mostly we moved here for education. My parents did the big sacrifice, and yeah, that was actually the major reason. उसके अलावा और तो कोई नहीं थी. It was either Pakistan or somewhere else. तो फिर उसके बाद I think my parents, I don't know, visa आ गया, whatever, जो
Yeah.
हुआ नहीं हुआ, I was too late, I don't know. Lekin then we moved to Canada, and then specifically education के लिए था, and then the rest, everything just started going on from there.
Right. बिल्कुल सही। तो I wanted to speak to you about this के I came across a video, अब I don't know if you're feeling comfortable about that, लेकिन
नहीं पूछ ले।
when
देखिए क्या होता है, I wonder which one it is.
and I've only come across this one video जो कि I think is from your school in Saudi, और
Oh,
उसमें
अच्छा हाँ
yeah वो so who was that person जिसने कहा था I'll sacrifice my own life for Pakistan?
So वो लड़की specifically, like I knew her back then, like she was मेरी senior थी उस वक्त. I don't know where she is now. लेकिन it wasn't me. A lot of people thought that's me. No, it's not me.
Maybe because they see you on social media, so they're like, यार अरीज मिल रही है, अरीज को grill कर दो.
Right. And I mean मुझे कोई grilling लगी नहीं थी. I'm like sure. लेकिन okay, bring it on.
Yeah.
Lekin, yeah, I don't know her like personally. I knew her back then, I think, and then I just knew her as a senior, and I'm like, oh, you know, वो जो seniors होते हैं, वो जो seniors की जो इज्जत respect, yeah, exactly. So I knew her. She was like a very energetic girl. She's very athletic, very academic. Like she was like basically.
I think everyone in that video was super energetic. I mean, maybe they were missing Pakistan so much. They really want to do something about Pakistan. I don't know, but.
अच्छा उसकी reasoning है because I think 23rd March थी, 23rd March ही था,
तो फिर आज भी होना
23rd March के ऊपर exactly तो 23rd March के लिए उन्होंने So my principal, the woman in the video, jo grape, just line se mashhoor hai.
Uh-huh.
So she was our principal at that time, and she was very patriotic, and so she liked hosting Pakistani specific events. And our school was at that time, believe it or not, ab to shayad lagega bhi nahi, but it was actually considered one of the school, like it was an international school, but it was also Pakistani, so they owned up to like every big Pakistani event.
Yeah,
Kuch bhi hota tha, they would call. We would have like guests. कभी कभार तो politics से भी लोग आते थे as like social like guests and stuff. So it was an event. हमें बोला गया था कि everyone will go down in the assembly and you have to say like हमें दिया गया था. I think what for your country, what would you sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
And I guess everyone was like, oh, you have to go down in front of the assembly and then you have to talk. So everyone was just like in front of like the entire school. Ek to ye baat thi, so everyone I think just pumped up their energy levels because they're like, oh, this can't go wrong. और दूसरा ये था, जहाँ तक मुझे याद है, I think we were getting marked on it. So
seriously,
like,
don't tell me.
नहीं मतलब it was as like a participation mark कि not कि आपने किस level पे क्या बोला है whatever, but I think that was their way of making it engaging as well. So इस तरह ही उन्होंने किया था, and yeah, so I guess that's why everyone was energetic and very involved, and some people were just patriotic in general. तो वो I think नजर भी आ रहा था.
हाँ मतलब काफी मजे. अच्छा I don't know, लेकिन मैं feel कर सकता था because you know living in Pakistan, you know, it's having India on the other side, having all sorts of military challenges, and you know वो सारे गाने जो सुन के हम लोग बड़े हुए हैं, so we are always brimming with passion for the country. We're always brimming with like, so I was like ठीक है तो हाँ बच्चों ने कह दिया यार हम भी तो ऐसे ही कहते हैं. I went to a military school, so I was like हाँ मतलब it's nothing new for me, but that bit that I was sacrifice my own life for Pakistan, वो जब इंटरनेट पे बना तो I was like अच्छा now it has become something new. मगर other than that मेरे लिए हम तो शायद वो चलते ही उसी से यार, we will one day sacrifice our own lives for Pakistan.
Exactly, I would agree with that, and I think हम लोग मतलब बड़ा common चीज थी. I think अगर ये बात अगर देखी जाए कि again patriotic events जिस तरह के होते रहते थे, तो and it was like up to I guess 12 years ago होगा. That video was very old, ठीक है. So and I don't know, one day some person was like scrolling through YouTube और हमारी हर event की video हमारे school के YouTube पे डलती थी. So YouTube was nothing, but yeah. So
YouTube was what 2-3 years old at that time.
I have no clue, but I just know it wasn't as big as it is now.
Of course.
So I mean, I guess someday some person was super bored and decided to go down the memory lane and check. और उसके बाद उन्होंने हर clip की वो डाली, and then I guess वो concept I guess West में ज़्यादा astonishing था. Yeah, it was more I don't know, हमारे लिए it was pretty like okay fine every day होता है ठीक है, but यहाँ पे it was like oh इतना patriotism, और फिर again there were people who blew stuff out of proportion, and then कुछ बच्चों ने जो बेचारों ने innocence में बोला था उसको किसी और, तो वो पूरा एंगल हुआ हर तरीके से जो कि चिंगम को चबा सकते हैं वो हुआ है.
लेकिन वैसे उस चीज़ को अगर अब देखूं, मुझे वही वाली बात है यार, हम लोग उसमें बड़े हुए हैं, हमारे लिए वो वाला कॉन्सेप्ट इतना ज़्यादा नहीं है. वो मेरा ख्याल है वही जब कि कोई एज यू मेंशन somebody must be super bored that day and they would have good by the way editing skills as well, तो उन्होंने कहा चलो जरा इसको करें नजर.
अच्छा फिर ऐसे कोई एडिटिंग की भी नहीं, उन्होंने लिटरली क्लिप जिस तरह चल रही थी उधर ही स्टॉप की और फिर आगे वो एडिटिंग बाद में आई थी जब लोगों ने मीम्स बनाई और कंपाइल की. इनिशियली तो वो वीडियो पे डाली उन्होंने उस सेकंड की, एंड दैट्स इट, एंड देन इट वेंट वायरल.
हाँ ये ऑफ कोर्स वही होगा, लेकिन खैर मतलब आई थिंक इट्स नॉट दैट डिफिकल्ट टू गेट वायरल दीस डेज. वैसे भी आप कुछ भी डाल दो जो तो वो चला जाता है. बट खैर लेट्स टॉक अबाउट अदर थिंग्स एज वेल. सो हाउ डिड यू गेट स्टार्टेड इन द वर्ल्ड ऑफ सोशल मीडिया कंटेंट डेवलपमेंट? वो किस तरह सोचा कि यार मैं कुछ बनाना स्टार्ट करती हूँ?
Honestly, initially it was all just like, and I'm not gonna say it was a beautiful accident, I'll say. Like initially, मैं वैसे ही अपने friends में I had a private account और मैं वैसे ही अपनी videos डालती रहती थी अपने like 20 जो मेरे followers थे TikTok पे.
अच्छा.
And that's where I just like post random dumb stuff, just normal stuff. And I always liked doing stuff on camera, like you know, because like I've always been like a drama kid in school. I've always wanted to work in the media or something associated to that. ठीक है. And and social and obviously I was like, नहीं पढ़ाई first, right? So my dad was always like very strict, नहीं बेटा पढ़ना है पहले, फिर जो करना
हाँ,
है जिंदगी में कर
पाकिस्तानी
लो.
देखो, पाकिस्तानी आपके साथ ना वो हमेशा रहते, पाकिस्तानी जो पेरेंट्स हैं उनका ये है कि बेटा तुम चाहे बिल गेट्स बन जाओ, लेकिन जो अपनी
Exactly.
मास्टर्स है ना वो पहले पूरा कर लेना.
बेशक डॉक्टर हो, इंजीनियर हो, लॉयर भी अब चलो अब समझा जाता है, या
हाँ
मास्टर्स आपने किसी कर लिया, फिर जो करना है जिंदगी में करना. And I'm like, हाफ ऑफ द चीजें उस वक्त तक इंसान के अंदर हिम्मत ही नहीं रहती है,
हाँ,
आपने
वो
क्या
तब
करना है तब.
नहीं वो पता नहीं, आई डोंट नो इफ इट्स अ ट्रू स्टोरी और नॉट, लेकिन मेरा ख्याल है इट वाज सुंदर पिचाई या समवन, आई वी वेंट बैक टू इंडिया एंड वी मेट विद अ कपल ऑफ रिलेटिव्स और पीपल देयर एट अ वेडिंग, एंड सुंदर पिचाई बीइंग गूगल सीईओ वो वहाँ मतलब गया, वाज इनवाइटेड एज अ गेस्ट, एंड देयर वर स्टिल पीपल इन द फैमिली या उसके फ्रेंड्स वगैरह में सेड कि यार मतलब यू शुड हैव स्टेड इन इंडिया, और यहाँ पे ना वो जो ऐसे हमारा सीएसएस होता है उनका भी एक जो है कंपैरेटिव एग्जाम, मतलब वो कर लेना चाहिए था, एंड ही वाज लाइक यार मैं गूगल का सीईओ भाई.
या नहीं, इस तरह की चीजें एक्चुअली a few days ago we were having this conversation. इस तरह की चीजें वो जो अगेन जो टिपिकल पाकिस्तानी मेंटालिटी है, वो लोग कभी भी नहीं, आप बेशक पता नहीं क्या जिंदगी में मारता ना मार ले, वो लोग नहीं समझेंगे. तो अगेन गोइंग बैक टू द पॉइंट, सो इट्स लाइक दैट. तो मैंने उसको कभी परस्यू भी नहीं किया इतना, खैर. बट माई डैड वाज आल्सो वेरी लाइक, ऐसे भी नहीं थे कि नहीं तुम सोशल मीडिया नहीं यूज कर सकती, वो नहीं कर सकती. So I just did it as a joke, and my parents always have followed me throughout, तो उनको कोई प्रॉब्लम कभी थी नहीं. And then I guess ये वीडियो आई, and when उससे पहले मैं डालती थी videos, but it wasn't like, I wouldn't call it content. It was just basically me being me. And then ये video आई, and then the video kind of went viral, and then my sister and my cousin actually were like, "Oh my God, this is you." और पहले मैं बैठी थी कि oh shoot, this is me.
This is me.
No. This better not go viral. And then my sister and my cousin basically at that time were like, you have to post a video saying this is you now, this is you before. I was like, nahi, main nahi kar rahi. I'm not getting involved in this trend. And my sister's like, own up to it, bro. This is like something to be proud of. Jo bhi hai, matlab, that was either way. You have come a long way. You're so different now. Like, jo bhi. Maine kaha, nahi, bhai, main nahi kar rahi. But my sister and my cousin again, mostly my sister, they got together and they made a video of my like before and after, like, oh, this is me, and then they posted it. And then I'm like, and then uske baad, the next thing I know is like messages like okay, and I'm like, oh shoot. So that was like the first step for it. But again, at that point, I don't think I was posting content as such. And that was during COVID when it started. So then content, I think मैंने seriously uske baad lena shuru kiya tha, when I was like, okay, I have a platform, might as well use it for something that's nice. And throughout the time, I don't think मैंने कभी सही तरह मुझे recently पता चला like what my actual meaning for my platform would be. Like, and it would just be content. But I always knew I wanted to incorporate like my Desi side. I always wanted to be, like you mentioned at the start, like I always wanted to be part of like the good Desis and not yeah. So, and I always knew, and my parents have always like, कभी भी ऐसी कोई videos मेरी डलती भी थी, तो मेरा ऐसा था कि I wanted to be like everyone can see it, and there has to be like yeah, इसमें ऐसी कोई शर्म की बात ना हो या कोई देख ले. I just don't want so, and that's what I want. I knew that I wanted, and then throughout time, I guess I got like people started on social media started liking my vibe, or they started like, apparently I have a lot of energy, which I've heard so far. So they just like that. Yeah. So, and then people started liking that, and I realized COVID ke dauran, like, stuff was very depressive. And so I just thought like maybe start this as, you know, like lighting up people's day and stuff like this. And then over time, mujhe realize मैं थोड़ी funny भी हूँ, like थोड़ी सी. So I was like, oh, okay. So then I just started posting actual content. My entire goal was to incorporate like Pakistani Desis, but sometimes also living abroad. But yeah, I just wanted, my big goal was incorporating Desi Pakistani. And yeah, that's all I've done.
अच्छा, मैं यही बात मेरे दिमाग में भी यही आगे से आ रहा था क्वेश्चन कि how do you make sure that, you know, your Desi side, your South Asian heritage, your Pakistani heritage gets incorporated in the content you produce? क्योंकि कभी मतलब तुम्हें ये ख्याल नहीं आया कि यार देखो मैं रहती तो कनाडा में हूँ, और कनाडा में रहते हुए मे बी मतलब वन डे इफ यू डिसाइड कि यार आई एम गोना मेक मनी ऑफ ऑफ इट, तो मुझे ज़्यादा वाइड ऑडियंस जो है, ज़्यादा प्रॉक्सिमल ऑडियंस जो है मेरे लिए, वो तो कैनेडियन मार्केट है. तो मैं कभी ये नहीं ख्याल आया कि यार मैं मतलब उसके अकॉर्डिंग बनाऊँ कंटेंट?
ये वैसे ख्याल मुझे तब नहीं आया था लेकिन either way I feel like मैं like personally मैं बहुत देसी हूँ, ठीक है। एंड अगर देखा जाए तो मैं हमेशा नहीं, again as I said earlier I love पाकिस्तानी गाने, पाकिस्तानी खाने, like बचपन से जो अबरार उल हक के गाने होंगे,
कौन से
मतलब
वाला?
वो सारे,
अबरार का
कोई
कौन से
भी
वाला
आप
गाना?
you name any अभी
तो
वो
बिल्लो से शुरू
एक
होते हैं यार हम तो, फिर
उसके बाद
आसाद तेरी
अभी
कल करनी, और फिर
एक
छड़ दे नहीं आसी कोई गाना।
वो एक और है जो अभी मुझे मेरे भाई को बहुत पसंद है, वो सानू तेरे नाल प्यार हो गया है, राइट। आई
ओ
जस्ट
मेरा,
लव द वायर्स,
या
आई
या
जस्ट
या या
लव द वायर्स, राइट। तो मतलब again going back to like पाकिस्तानी, मुझे हर कुछ इस तरह का पसंद है। पाकिस्तानी कपड़े पहनने का मुझे बहुत शौक है,
या
and yeah I live here but at the same time मुझे पता था कि
हम्म
as a person मैं हमेशा से ऐसी हूँ, मेरे दोस्त भी ऐसे ही हैं, ठीक है। अब वो again I don't want to offend anyone but वो जो completely whitewashed देसीज होते हैं वो भी हैं, लेकिन I just was never able to relate to them and they would never relate to me. They would call me a fob and I just call them like आप भी देसी नाम के ही हैं but yeah so I always knew that was within me, लेकिन मैंने कभी कोशिश नहीं की उस साइड को छुपाने की। तो इसलिए I just knew कि अगर मैं कुछ करूंगी भी तो वो इस तरह होगी। And when it comes to my content again कभी कभार वो जो switch in my languages आ जाएगा,
या
English से Urdu, and then
या
people would be
या
like you know Urdu and I was like हाँ फिर उसके बाद मुझे शायरी बहुत पसंद है, मुझे उर्दू लैंग्वेज बहुत पसंद है, तो इसलिए I was like I need to incorporate like stuff like that। जिसको again सोशल मीडिया पे ऐसा होता है कि कुछ चीजें वायरल होती हैं, कुछ नहीं होती। तो इनिशियली आई वाज लाइक व्हाटएवर, दिस इज मी, जो नहीं भी वायरल होगा आई डोंट केयर, दिस इज मी। तो वो इस तरह हुआ था। एंड फिर अगर कंटेंट में देखा जाए तो माय कंटेंट इज मोर स्पेसिफिकली टुवर्ड्स लाइक देसी हरकतें, देसी चीजें, हम लोग पाकिस्तानी लोग क्या कर रहे होते हैं, या मतलब और फिर उसके बाद डिवाइड होता है, फिर इंडियंस भी आ जाते हैं उसी देसी में, बांग्लादेशी एंड लाइक बहुत से लोग आ जाते हैं। तो yeah then that just happened along the way but
मेरा ख्याल
I
है कि मतलब
think
दिस इज अ गुड पॉइंट दैट यू हैव मेड कि यार मतलब उसी लिस्ट के अंदर देखो कल्चर इज प्रीटी मच द सेम पाकिस्तान और इंडिया का। अभी देखो हम उर्दू बोल रहे हैं, वो इंडियन बोल रहे हैं, तो मतलब वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड देम, दे कैन आल्सो अंडरस्टैंड अस। द कल्चर
exactly
अगेन इज प्रीटी मच द सेम। वही चीज़ जो आप कह रहे हो दैट्स लाइक a lot of it is applicable in the in Indians as in the Indian community as well। तो वो आपकी मतलब ऑडियंस मेरा ख्याल है वहाँ से बड़ी हो ही जाती है। तो
मेरा मानना है कि हम लोग बिल्कुल लाइक देयर सो मेनी सिमिलैरिटीज बिटवीन अस। अगर हम इंडियंस और पाकिस्तानी स्पेसिफिकली देख लें, चाहे हरकतों में हो, चाहे घर, मतलब ऑब्वियसली डिफरेंसेस भी हैं, लेकिन मैं वैसे ही कह रही हूँ अगर देखा जाए तो बैठ के अगर हम नेगेटिव्स को साइड पे रख दें और if we try to look at each other, हम लोगों में बहुत similarities हैं। So instead of like dividing each other, why don't we just bring those similarities together? Because at the end of the day, you find it relatable, I find you relatable.
yeah
Why sit there and pinpoint, you know, like, oh my God, no, you're Pakistani and no, you're Indian or stuff like that.
एब्सोल्युटली बिल्कुल सही, बिल्कुल सही। हम इसी वजह से मेरा ख्याल है कि वी आल्सो अप्रिशिएट द, देखो हम लोग जहाँ पे बहुत सारा पाकिस्तानी कंटेंट देख के बड़े हुए हैं, आई थिंक नो वन कैन डिनाई दैट वी हैव आल्सो बीन इन्फ्लुएंस्ड बाय द ड्रामास दैट वर एयर्ड ऑन स्टार प्लस। बिकॉज चलो अब वो नहीं आता, मगर पाकिस्तान में शायद कनाडा वगैरह में तो आता होगा, लेकिन पाकिस्तान में तो पहले जब आता था तो शाकला का बूम बूम और करिश्मा करिश्मा एंड ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स एंड ऑल ऑफ द इंडियन मूवीज दैट वी हैव वॉच्ड में, उसकी वजह से मतलब बड़ी हो जाती है आपकी मार्केट। खैर, so you have built a very strong social media presence, mashallah, and you're also it's increasing. But how do you manage your balance? I mean, how do you balance your personal life, and how do you strike a balance between your privacy as well? मुझे लगता है कि एक सोशल मीडिया पे जो बंदा आ जाता है, who starts speaking his mind out or her mind out, तो उनके लिए सबसे बड़ा मसला ये होता है कि उसकी privacy जो है वो breach होना स्टार्ट हो जाती है। How do you manage?
You're right, but I also still feel like वहाँ पे it depends on the person. आप खुद ही अपनी boundary draw करते हो। For me, I'm like the type of person where I don't like, even though I am in the limelight, but I still don't like being in the limelight, as in like person, like मेरी जो personal चीज़ होती है मुझे नहीं अच्छा लगता। अब जैसे for example, if you take like I'll take like the Kardashians, ठीक है, because they're so big on social media. For example, if they'll buy a car or they'll buy like some small thing, छोटी सी कोई चीज लेंगे या उनकी लाइफ में कुछ भी next step हो रहा है, so that's influence on social because they're making money off of that. So this is where I draw the line. I was like, my content is just funny, relatable, desi content, and that's it. When it comes to stories and stuff, I wasn't the type of person to post a lot of stories because I mean, like, kya matlab, why? My initial thing was, why would people want to know what I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
I don't care about. I wouldn't care about what some random person is doing. Kabhi kabhar dekh lo. Like even if I were to I'm like that. मुझे नहीं पता.
हम्म
So see, I would always be like, but then when you start social media, you have to like keep up with stuff, right? तो मैं जब भी मैं अगर डालती भी थी stories अभी भी डालती हूँ, I don't post stuff about my personal life because I'm like no one cares, no one wants to know, and आपको information पता चल भी जाएगी तो to be honest आपकी जिंदगी में कोई इजाफा नहीं होगा उससे.
क्या फर्क क्या पड़ रहा है
Exactly, like मैं क्या कर रही हूँ, मैं क्या मतलब आज मैंने क्या खाया या मैं कहाँ गई. सब कोई चीज एस्थेटिकली प्लीजिंग होगी तो मैं डाल दूंगी, ठीक है कभी कभार, if it looks so cute, right? But other than that, I was like, no one really cares. Genuinely, लोग ना
Yeah, I
stories
don't
skip
know
ही
about
करनी
that.
होती हैं.
Honestly, I don't know about that. मुझे मतलब I would agree with you on principle. I'd say कि यार whatever you're saying makes sense. But what I've seen here, I remember. I don't know. I don't even remember the name of that person. But once my wife showed me a video, and it was of a person. She was a social media influencer, and she was eating watermelon, and उस पे ही कोई डेढ़ पता नहीं कितने सारे views, and I don't even know कि क्या था, but people were still following her for what? Because she was eating watermelon. So how does that add value to my, to your life? मतलब as someone from the audience, मतलब तुम्हें कैसे फायदा हो रहा है यार इस चीज का?
No, I always question that as well. I see some very big, but again, वो बहुत famous influencers के साथ आते हैं और वो तो फिर literally कैमरा खोल के हाय भी कहते हैं तो वो views millions में चले जाएंगे. वो उस तरह होता है because people just like sit there. Personally, मैं उनको भी नहीं इस तरह treat करती. I'm like, I don't really care what you do with your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I guess this obsession of people knowing people more personally. अगर आप देखें तो लोगों को होता है कि there's a celebrity, अगर वो मिल रहे तो oh I know them, oh I met them. तो वो obsession होता है कि oh to relate to them or just to tell people कि I know them, right? तो उससे I guess stem होता है, but other than that मुझे कभी इसकी समझ नहीं आई.
Absolutely. मतलब हम लोगों ने मैंने खुद देखा है and with the people I know, maybe शायद किसी point में मैंने भी ऐसे किया होगा, but I try not to do it now. मगर मुझे ये feel होता है कि यार for example if I am posting a picture that I took with for example a politician, Pakistan में we're very politics centric all the time, तो कोई politician अगर नजर आता है so we would make sure that we are not letting that opportunity go. We have a picture taken with them and then we would post it on social media, but for what? Because we're telling someone that कि यार we know them, and just because by virtue of us knowing them you should respect us too. Like, does that even make sense?
I think इसके दो aspects आते हैं. कुछ लोग इतना सोचते हैं और कुछ लोग सोचते हैं oh my god I met them, it's so famous, like oh my god I met them. तो वो अपनी excitement में होती है. And a lot of times I don't think people really think this through because again बहुत कम लोग सोचते हैं action करने से पहले. And this is social media is like one of the prime examples where people do not think and just do stuff, right? Virality के ऊपर या fame के ऊपर या मतलब जो जहाँ चल रहा होता है वहाँ चल जाते हैं. So again, social media, there's stuff that I don't think I'll ever understand. But I guess this is where you draw the line and you're like, no. So I've always just done that. Like, again, मैंने शुरू में like जब मेरा इतना, when I wasn't like more on the content creation side, I used to post like normal pictures with my family and stuff. But over time, I realized okay, there are some very creepy people as well. Yeah. And आपको जिंदगी में कभी समझ ही नहीं आएगी. Like it's hard for me to digest. Why would someone be obsessed or like why would someone want to do this type of stuff, right? And then so I actually came across this one person who's always like they made an account, and I wasn't really like I didn't start Instagram social media influencing at that point. So उस वक्त मेरा normal होता था, and they took all my pictures, posted it on another page. They started acting like that's their page. They got more followers than I did at one point. And then they started talking to random people about random stuff, and just sometimes it was also not what I would do. Okay, so with that experience, and I think बहुत अरसे बाद Instagram really their support team doesn't really help you a lot if you are not a big person. I'm sorry, but it's true. तो रिपोर्ट करने के बावजूद भी वो नया अकाउंट बना के आ जाते थे. 6 दफा बंद हुआ अकाउंट वो नया बना लेते हैं. तो and I would never understand like why are you so obsessed? क्या आपको इससे मिलेगा? आप like just own up to yourself, right? आपने किसी से अगर बात भी करनी है चलो कितनी देर तक बात हो जाएगी, एक पॉइंट पता चल ही जाना है आपको नहीं हो तो why would you do that? So again, throughout that thing, मैंने realized किया, and then I started getting more cautious. I'd be very cautious with who I'm posting or what I'm posting, right? So I guess with time आपको थोड़ा समझ भी आ जाती है, but yeah, it also depends on the person.
हाँ वैसे ये सही बात है यार. मतलब खैर पाकिस्तान में तो अब मैंने काफ़ी सारा देखा है. एंड वो आ रहा होता है ना कि यार मतलब रिपोर्ट दिस पेज, और वो आपको पता चल रहा था यार किसी ने फेक अकाउंट बना लिया, एंड देन अगेन व्हाट्स द पर्पस ऑफ दैट? समबडी, आई मीन यू कुड फूल समवन फॉर अ सर्टेन लेंथ ऑफ टाइम, पर उसके बाद तो फिर आपको कभी ना कभी तो यू विल हैव टू कम थ्रू के यार मैं कौन हूँ, और पता
No,
चल जाएगा.
exactly. मुझे आज भी messages आ रहे होते हैं. Oh, do you have another account? They sent us an invitation. I was like, first of all, why would I send random people invitations?
हाँ.
Okay, I don't think people do that. I mean, personally, I don't think girls do that. लेकिन
Maybe the boys.
yeah, again, I don't want to generalize, but I'm like, why would you send random people messages and or just like requests? ठीक है, so is this your account? Or they message me saying this, तो वो आज तक आ रहे होते हैं मुझे, and I'm like, अगर आप अक्लमंद हैं, फिर बहुत से तो आते थे कि I thought we were good friends and this and that, और chats मुझे भेजी थी when this was like very like fresh. They were actually friends, and I was like, hey, why are you becoming best friends with someone you've never met on social media? आपने बेशक ही उसकी तस्वीर क्यों ना देखी, बट you've never met them, so how can you say? उन पे भी मुझे हो रहा था मतलब अब मैं आप पे अफसोस करूं या आप पे तरस खाऊं, मैं क्या करूं, but still, and then the other side is the other person who's actually doing it. So
वो दोनों तरफ से
नहीं
यार, मतलब सही बात है. You have to be careful these days on social media. मेरे ख्याल है it's not just these days. It's from the time when we used to use, अब तुम्हें तो शायद पता भी नहीं होगा मतलब, but before Facebook we used to have Orkut, तो हम Orkut use किया करते थे.
I've heard of it, yeah.
You've heard of it? I have used it. तो
I've heard my mom or my khalas talk about it.
Yeah, तो वो हाँ, तो अभी वो रिलेट कर सकते हैं उस पे. तो उस टाइम से मतलब you have to be careful. और by the way, talking about the creepy messages and creepsters, मतलब this is the downside of social media. So amongst, देखो मतलब of course मतलब there's so much positive going on social media, and at the same time there's also a flip side to it. So
I agree.
What about the most creepiest messages that you've ever received? किस तरह? I'm quite sure किस तरह से होता तो होगा.
होते तो हैं, but creepiest.
How do you manage it?
I don't respond. नहीं, मैं messages को respond ही नहीं करती. मेरा तो ये rule है, I'm not responding to messages unless it's like a collaboration or someone who actually has appreciation for my content, or you want to say something, then I will respond. But ना hello, hi, इस तरह की messages को I never respond. I'm like, आपका क्या ही हो जाएगा? And personally, I don't want to associate with. तो मेरी जिंदगी में जितने लोग हैं, I'm very content with those. I don't want to expand that circle. So I don't really respond to messages. But कभी-कभार कुछ लोग होते हैं जो people go to weird extents. कुछ लोग होंगे, like the other day, it's not creepy, but it's weird. It was very funny. A few days ago, I was telling my sister, someone sent me a bunch of reels भेजी जा रहे थे, and then they're like, oh, I'm just dumping reels over here because if I dump them onto a friend, they might think they mean something. But if I dump it onto you, you obviously won't mean anything. So I'm like, people are getting smart.
What a creative idea, by the way.
But exactly, मैंने कहा मुझे तो कभी नहीं आना था ये idea. But yeah, there's people have gotten very smart, and I'm like, अगर आप लोग इतनी मेहनत normal life में कर रहे होते तो बहुत ही कुछ हो रहा होता.
Well, हम कभी सोचते हैं यार वो पाकिस्तान पे इतना कर्जा कैसे चढ़ गया यार, मतलब इतनी इंटेलिजेंट कौम है लेकिन इंटेलिजेंस कहीं और जा रही है.
मतलब हर गलत काम में, again, इसीलिए लोग कहते हैं social media. I mean, my mom has always said, चीज बुरी नहीं होती, उसके यूज जिस तरह होता है वो उसको बुरा या अच्छा बनाता है, and social media is like basically the prime example of it. The other day I was talking to a friend and she was saying कि उसके भाई ने, he got more religious specifically because of TikTok, because उसके TikTok पे इतने उसके बहुत वो आ रहे थे, like people, scholars, and they were talking about stuff, and he got more interested in learning about this stuff. So there's that side of TikTok too, and then there's another side जो I mean everyone knows. तो उस तरह की, though there's no in between, right?
हाँ, लेकिन ये वाली बात बिल्कुल सही है, because all of these softwares, everything, they're tools. मतलब जैसे हम चैट जीपीटी के बारे में, I did a podcast on चैट जीपीटी a day before, और हम उस पर ये डिस्कस कर रहे थे, at the end of the day it's a tool and you get to decide how you want to use it. आप चैट जीपीटी से कोई गलत चीज भी करवा सकते हो, and I don't want to put ideas in your mind because you're pursuing a master, so मुझे पता है तुमने रिसर्च वगैरह में लिखना होगा.
Already लोगों ने कर लिया ये.
कर ली. चलो, टेक जीपीटी भी आ रहा है.
अब इसीलिए तो उन्होंने वो पेमेंट कर दिया ना, यू हैव टू पे फॉर इट।
वो तो देखो, वो तो GPT-4 है यार, GPT 3.5 में भी यू कैन स्टिल हैव 3000 वर्ड्स सॉफ्टवेयर राइट फॉर यू, तो वो चलो। खैर मतलब अगेन कमिंग बैक टू द टॉपिक है यार। हाँ, इट्स एट द एंड ऑफ द डे इंस्टाग्राम, फेसबुक, यूट्यूब, टिकटॉक, एवरीथिंग, ऑल ऑफ देम आर टूल्स। तो यू गेट टू डिसाइड आपने किसको फॉलो करना है, आपने किसको सब्सक्राइब करना है, किसको एक्सपोज करना है, किसके साथ एक्सपोज होना है। सो या एब्सोल्युटली आई एग्री with your mom on this 100%. How do you anticipate the changes in social media? How do you think Instagram and Facebook, how do you think they're going to change our lives? How do you think they're going to evolve as softwares?
Deep question.
मेरे क्वेश्चन बड़े डीप होते हैं।
हो गया।
वो जब हम बात करते हैं ना पॉडकास्ट से पहले कि इसके डीप क्वेश्चन में वो ये वाला था।
हाँ, वैसे पता चल गया था द मिनट यू हाउ डू यू एंटिसिपेट, मैंने कहा वो आ गया।
हाँ, बट मेरा ख्याल है देखो, as social as people who are developing, who are feeding content into social media, I think it's also a responsibility कि यार हमें भी पता हो कि यार कैसे चेंज किस तरह होगा। मतलब जैसे मेरी कमिटमेंट ये है कि यार whatever I am producing, I don't know if it's entertaining enough or not, but at the end of the day, it should add some real value to the person who's consuming it.
Exactly. No, you're absolutely right. And I actually came across this realization very recently, where I was like, okay, I'm doing this. And you know, when you start social media or anything, I think in general, mainly social media, like initially you get too caught up with views and oh my God, people are knowing who I am and this and that. You know, bachpane wali harkatein. And then after a certain point, you sit back and you're like, okay, what is the aim? What is the point of this? Like, you know, and for me, again, wo ye tha, for religious aspect tha, and I'm like, what value am I adding in my life or other people's life through this platform, right? So I think अगर देखा जाए सोशल मीडिया जिस तरह चल रहा है, I really hope it does go to a point जिस पे everyone can take something out of it. ठीक है, चाहे वो कुछ भी हो, मतलब but I feel like इस तरह वो नहीं जा रहा, because अगर देखा जाए बहुत से लोग, I think you mentioned this in the start, are just posting stuff for getting viral, चाहे वो insensitive content हो, चाहे वो content का मतलब sense भी नहीं बन रही, but just because it's a trend, एक hopping on
Yeah.
trend भी बना हुआ है बहुत ज़्यादा. So a lot, sometimes I don't even understand most of these trends, ठीक है, and I'm like, oh, people are doing this. अब जैसे कि like बहुत सी इस तरह की चीजें हैं, so I feel like social media might be going to that aspect. I don't want to say it, but I mean जिस तरह देखा जा रहा है तो yes it is. लेकिन as influencers or people who are creating content, again you said it is our responsibility. चाहे even if you're, I feel like in every video or something you do, bottom line is आप अगर बनाने से पहले कुछ सोच रहे कि इसके अंदर मैंने ये मैसेज देना है या ये मैंने करना है, तो अगेन आपकी वीडियो का जो पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू है वो भी चला जाता है, बट आपका जो छोटा सा मैसेज है वो भी चला जाता है. बट अगेन इट टेक्स अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम लगता है, बिकॉज आप अगर if you're starting up as a content creator, you might be too stuck up with the views, with the engagement and stuff. और engagement और views के लिए उस तरह की चीजें नहीं चलती. I've tried it. मुझे initially मैंने जब कहा था कि I was like, oh, I love शायरी. I was like, maybe I write as well, and I was like, maybe I can write stuff like that. It's about like different stuff, and मैं initially डालती थी. None of that. Like बिल्कुल भी नहीं. I will have like 60K followers और मेरे वो 600 भी नहीं जाएगी. You know? तो अगर so I realized कि कभी कभार आपको बीच में ऐसी चीजें कर देनी चाहिए. Don't care about the views and stuff if you're starting up. Because in the grand scheme of things, आपको नहीं पता, कोई भी किसी को भी किसी तरह हेल्प कर सकता है. And I do get a lot of messages where people are like, oh, this was happening and I saw this and that honestly makes my day. And I'm like, कभी कभार तो मैं खुद भी ऐसे नहीं सोचती. like मैंने कभी सोचा ही नहीं था ये डालने से पहले कि ये इस तरह perceive किया जाएगा, like in a good way. And I'm like, when it does, आपको खुद भी खुशी होती है कि you're doing something good in someone's life, right? And then I think वो जब आता है तो आपको then you get on that high. You want to do that more. So it's just a matter of figuring it out. I can't say किस तरफ जा रहा है because I don't, again, ये नहीं पता कौन किस तरह कर रहा है, but I feel like it should go in this aspect.
हाँ, लेकिन वही वाली बात है ना कि जैसे तुमने कहा कि किसी की जिंदगी में किस तरह से ऐड कर दे कोई चीज. I mean, ये होता है like मतलब सोशल मीडिया कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स आपको आते हैं ऐसे मैसेजेस यार कि आपकी वो वाली बात ने मेरी जिंदगी पे ये वाला असर डाला है क्या. मतलब आई वॉज लुकिंग फॉर समथिंग लाइक दैट एंड आई फाउंड इट इन योर वीडियो. तो उस वक्त आपको वो हिट मिलती है यार कि चलो शुक्र अल्लाह ताला का, व्हाटएवर मतलब आई हैव बीन ट्राइंग टू अचीव, एटलीस्ट आई एम गेटिंग समवेयर. किसी की जिंदगी तो हो रही है. मुझे खुद लगता है यार कि एट द एंड ऑफ द डे आप बहुत थोड़े लोगों पे इन्फ्लुएंस कर सकते हो. चाहे जितना मर्जी कंटेंट बना लो, इन्फ्लुएंस बहुत थोड़े लोगों पे आप कर सकते हो. अच्छा इन्फ्लुएंस.
Absolutely. No, I feel like ऐसे ही होता है because या तो ज़्यादातर मजाक में लिया जाएगा, ज़्यादातर हेट में लिया जाएगा, जो भी है, and that doesn't matter. But if let's say आपके 10,000 गई है whatever, और उसके अंदर से 5 भी लोग हैं who actually ended up feeling good, honestly that doesn't matter. That the वो जो 10,000 would actually not matter if you ask any person who makes content and stuff. If you get that messages from even one person specifically, you'd be like, oh, मुझे नहीं पता था कि मेरी एक छोटी सी बात ने इतना impact कर दिया. And then you start getting more cautious about what you're saying or what you're doing because, again, I mean, human psychology है. You always want to be perceived as, you know, the best. But in this way, this aspect, I feel like in this way, it's a good notion कि हाँ ठीक है, you're doing something for other people. So इसीलिए बहुत से मैंने देखे content creators जो different pages भी खोलते हैं, बनाते हैं for like different causes या different चीजें. And I feel like in that way, there are very good content creators out there as well who are doing more than one thing, right? उनकी funny side भी होगी, but they are also doing something related to health, or they're doing something related to like mental health, right? Physical health, और बहुत सी चीजें हो रही हैं. And I love the fact that if you have this platform, try adding more value to it. जैसे कि like, you know, just try finding something, even if it's like a stereotype, और आपको लगता है कि वो true नहीं है, या कोई बात है जो आपको लगता है आपकी community में बहुत toxic है और नहीं होनी चाहिए. Have that, and उसके ऊपर अगर आप funny videos भी बनाते हो तो make that into like the humor by giving that your message at the end of the day. So I feel like इस तरह भी हो रहे हैं और हो भी सकते हैं.
Exactly. मतलब it's also the way you deliver your message यार. वही बात आप इस तरह से कह सकते हो, वही बात आप किसी और तरह से कह सकते हो, but you can आप दिमाग में रखो कि आपका मैसेज है किसके लिए, how would they best understand.
Oh yeah, absolutely. और कभी-कभार आप बोलते भी हो तो वो गलत भी perceive होता है. And then you're like, oh, इसको इस तरह भी सोचा जा सकता है.
इस तरह भी हो सकता था यार, बात कितनी कर सकती यार, सो मैं तो इसने कहा ही नहीं था भाई.
Yeah, and then you can't explain. You cannot explain. Like, you will not be able to चाहे आप justification दे दो because it's out there. Yeah. So and then again, it's more a reminder that you have to be more cautious with what you say and what you put out there.
हाँ, लेकिन फिर वही वाली बात है ना, देखो अब लोग आपको हमेशा से जो है वो अपने मुताबिक परसीव करेंगे. वो कहते हैं ना यार, किसी ने मुझे ऐसा पाया, किसी ने मुझे वैसा पाया, वो सबने मुझे वैसा ही पाया जितना जिसका जर था उसने मुझे वैसा. Something like I have butchered the
but it's okay. I know what you're saying.
but the crux is this.
No, it's true. It's actually very true. Because at the end of the day, ये बात भी मुझे when I started my social media journey, specifically on Instagram, and Instagram I started very recently. तो मुझे उस पे पता चला था यहाँ के लोग अब जिस तरह का उनकी सोच है वो उसी तरह perceive करेंगे, चाहे आपने जो कहा ना भी हो. And for some period of time, it was very like bothering to me कि मैंने ऐसा नहीं कहा. Why are you know, like generally, या चाहे कुछ भी कोई छोटी सी भी चीज होती है. I've noticed, I don't want to start this entire new discussion, but I noticed कि मैं कोई भी video डालूंगी ना, let's say you're talking about point A, ठीक है, you're talking about like, oh, the color of this fruit chart or whatnot, ठीक है, for example, and then उसके बाद वो जो comment section में आएंगी ना बातें, वो politics के ऊपर चली जाएंगी, and that will be one country like throwing hate over the other country's politics, और इस तरह, and पूरी वीडियो की रीजन वायरल होने की क्या होगी, वो उस तरह के कमेंट्स, and then it will just be a hate, a war zone in the comment section.
Absolutely. अच्छा, और ये मैंने ज्यादा देखा भी है, मतलब खुसूसी तौर पे किस पे के, चलो पाकिस्तान इंडिया के देख लो यार, कोई भी अच्छी वीडियो, उसमें कोई ना कोई एक ऐसा बंदा जरूर होता है जो सारी अच्छी वीडियो के में भी ना कोई he would spill something hateful, or he or she or whoever that person is, और then उसके बाद जो strain चलता है आगे, वो सारा खराब हो जाता है.
वो पूरी ट्रेन चलती रहती है और मैं कहती हूँ यार कोई तो रुक जाए, मतलब क्या है कमेंट सेक्शन में लड़ाई कर रहे हो तुम लोग. एंड मेरी, you're absolutely right, मैं अगर देखा जाए मेरी almost every video, and I always stay away from politics. This is the one topic I do not want to get involved in, especially on social media. क्योंकि मुझे लगता है मेरा इतना knowledge नहीं है, and B, I just not on social media, ठीक है, I will keep my political views to myself. लेकिन जब
I'd say that is the wise thing to do these days.
Exactly. So comment section में भी कोई भी वीडियो किसी भी बात पे होगी, पॉलिटिकल वॉर शुरू हो जाएगी या शुरू हो जाएगी, which country is better, which country is doing worse. और कभी कभार I've also realized, like in a hard way, to not respond to that. क्योंकि कभी कभार I don't know, मैं ऐसी नहीं हूँ patriotic के oh my god, वो जो वीडियो में नहीं गया था I will sacrifice my life. But in a way, I felt like I still am, because if someone was saying something bad about my country, I was like, ऐसी बात नहीं है, या मुसलमानों के ऊपर आके बात हो रही है, मैं कैसी बात नहीं है. right? And if I'll post like a message saying guys like it's nice time whatever, तो उस पे भी आते हैं कि प्लीज हमें आपके से एसोसिएट करने की जरूरत नहीं है या आपको हमसे एसोसिएट लाइक इस तरह के. And I just realized there is a lot of hate around social media as well. And Instagram की जो audience है, they're also very sensitive towards stuff जिसके लिए नहीं होना चाहिए and insensitive towards stuff जिसके लिए actually sensitive होना चाहिए. तो उल्टी चल रही है.
Ulta, exactly, 100%. I absolutely agree with you on that.
Acha, so you talked about Islamophobia, kabhi tumne mention kiya. So how would you say ke how big of a problem is Islamophobia for Muslim families living in the Western world? I know it's a bit off track that we have gone. Lekin matlab, what are your opinions on that?
It is there, definitely. But I think people have, I think over the years, a lot of people have been educated over it and they've started accepting other religions. Specifically, अब Canada का अगर देखा जाए, it's the land of multiculturalism, to be very honest. So I wouldn't say कि यहाँ पे इतना होता है. ये नहीं मैं कह रही बिल्कुल नहीं होता है. But if I were to look at the states, obviously वहाँ पे बहुत ज़्यादा है.
Have you ever experienced it? Yeah, have you ever seen anyone or any family experiencing that?
मतलब मेरे से तो social media पे I would always experience it, लेकिन personally in person, yes, I've experienced more racism than Islamophobia. लेकिन I think क्योंकि again हम लोग specific Ontario में बहुत मुसलमान भी बहुत ज़्यादा हैं, so it's like बहुत a lot of Pakistani Desis, and everyone's would like basically कभी एक अगर specific जगह यहाँ पे it's called Mississauga, it's called mini Pakistan to be honest, because it's literally populated with all Pakistanis. तो उसमें आप Islamophobia experience नहीं कर रहे because वो सारे मुसलमान ही होते हैं mostly. लेकिन if I were to go to other places, let's say दूसरी जगहों पे, तो yes थोड़ा बहुत है. और वो मैंने as such I've been lucky इतना personally experience नहीं किया because वो होता है कि आपको पता चल जाता है because there's like rude, distant, लेकिन इतना ज्यादा नहीं किया. But I've एक दो दफा किया था, but that's also like pure वो तो racism में आता था. I don't think उससे religion के अंदर कुछ आ रहा था. But हाँ,
लेकिन मेरा वैसे अपना ख्याल है जितना मैं समझ सका हूँ आज तक from someone sitting thousands and thousands of miles away, और जितना मैं आज तक खैर ऑनलाइन पढ़ा है और समझा है कि कनाडा में probably फिर भी शायद कम है. मुझे लगता है people are more polite in Canada.
Yeah, Canada is known to be very like मजाक उड़ाया जाता है कि कनाडा में अगर कैलकुलेटर भी गिरता है तो सॉरी कहते हैं. Yeah, sure. Yeah, basically. I don't know if I'd call them softies because वो different story है.
आइस हॉकी में आ जाए तो फिर शायद नो सॉफ्टीज, फिर तो बताएंगे.
Exactly. हाँ, तो यहाँ पे अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह, that's what I'm saying. I've been on the better end of this situation and I don't know what मुझे लगता है कि I'd probably get too consumed in it because my experience of facing Islamophobia was on social media, and I didn't think it would affect me this much क्योंकि screen के पीछे बैठ के लिखता है क्या होगा, right?
हाँ, keyboard warriors तो सारे हैं ना, like.
Right, and I always thought कि यही मेरा reaction होगा, but it actually did affect me because what affected me more was that people still think like this in this day and age. So I was, I guess, naive. Yeah, I was unaware of the fact that people still think like that about Muslims. And yeah, and now I'm like, oh, so I've gotten more aware that there are people like that still there. And बहुत strong views वाले हैं. So many
there will probably always be people like that. ऐसा तो I think
yeah,
they're always going to be there. मतलब जितनी भी awareness कर लो.
You're right. वो तो रहेंगे ही रहेंगे. Again, and the best thing I love about social media is you can mute that type of stuff. So I've always put like filters according to that. I'm like, आपने इसके बारे, I'm very open about it. आपने आगे positivity फैलानी, अच्छी बात करिए, करो. हाँ. लेकिन आपने अगर ये बैठ के बोलना, I'm not gonna tolerate it. Sorry. Like.
हाँ, एक तो tolerate बनी, दूसरा I don't have the time for that ना यार. मतलब मैं एक चीज पे लगूंगा, but then you'll have a comment on that, and then I'll have another comment, and people would jump in as well.
Exactly.
What do you think? मतलब I have the whole day for you.
Basically, it's like enticing me to a point that I'm actually going to come up and say, because at a point I will talk about it because I mean, you come and like Muslims, I'm pretty sure every Muslim would be like, क्या
यार कोई भी religion होगा मतलब यार आप
specifically
यार मतलब हमें ऐसा यूं कर लेते हैं.
Anyway, yeah, exactly. तो इसलिए I've been very clear about it कि वो तो उसमें लिखा हुआ है, आपने इसके बारे में बात करनी है, वो खुद ही filter हो जाएगा comment. So that's how I've done. That's how I've dealt with it on social media. But alhamdulillah, I don't think I've dealt with it personally here. And
Right.
I think that's got to do more with because it's on Canadian side पे ज़्यादा देसी और मुसलमान ज़्यादा हैं, so there's more education on that and tolerance भी. And again, you said people are sweeter. But again, if I were in the States, I'd probably have a different answer.
Right. चलो अब थोड़ा सा जरा इसको जरा चेंज करते हैं and I'll ask you 4-5 questions or last 4-5 questions. इसको जरा अपना if you can consider it, you could call it a rapid fire, लेकिन it's not exactly a
Ooh.
rapid fire, but still. So if you could
Okay.
travel back in time, which era would you like to go back to? Or what years of your life?
What years of my life?
Your life.
Era. I mean, era. So I'd say like. Honestly, I always think of this question. जब भी लोग किसी से पूछ रहे होते हैं, my answer to that is I really like the era I'm in. But at the end of the day, again, I always like my family has always called me that I'm born in the wrong era, as in like I'm an old soul. You might not see that on social media, but yeah. So I feel like I would probably be born 10 years before. Again, I'd probably be born in the 80s.
Then you would be a 90s kid. है ना?
I am a 90s kid.
अच्छा ठीक है फिर सही है ठीक है. Now you make me
Yeah.
feel that I'm not that old फिर. Because I'm
You're
also
not,
a
I don't know
90s
why.
kid. 92, the year Pakistan won its first World Cup.
Oh, nice! That's so exciting. Honey, I'm more towards the end. I'm like 99, almost like making it the first.
The year that
But,
Pakistan lost its World Cup to Australia.
Because I was born. That's okay. we had a bigger. But yeah, so I would probably say the 80s. But if I were to go back, but even then, I feel like I like the era I'm in.
The best.
And not an interesting answer, but
नहीं
Yeah.
सही है यार मतलब कोई मतलब मुझसे पूछता है what was the best time of your life, I always tell them the time that I am in is the best.
exactly.
Because मतलब जब मैं स्कूल में था तो that was ठीक है fine. When I was in college, that was a better time as compared to school. University was even better. MBA was the best. Now is the best of all. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. I'm not one to be like, oh, my life was so much better back then. तो मुझे वही era में जाने. No, I don't really think like that. So मेरा ये होता है कि if that was good, it gets better, alhamdulillah. Obviously there's ups and downs, but like it still gets better.
सही है
Because you grow, like you mature with age also. So इसलिए I really like the era I'm in. I can't wait for the next era to see what I do.
ये मैं पूछूंगा the next time that we are doing another podcast, hopefully that would be चलो in person, तो फिर उस वक्त मैं पूछूंगा what would the next era of your life look like. But the next question is, if you could trade places with a celebrity, which celebrity would that be?
Ooh, trade places.
अभी अब्रारो लगना कहना यार.
नहीं trade places तो नहीं, because I feel like all the celebrities जहाँ भी वो हैं they've earned it.
But for a day तो कर लो यार.
I feel like I'd say Hani Ammaar because I love her personality. I love her personality.
अच्छा.
I like her personality, but if you want me to go in like Hollywood or Bollywood, if I'd say Bollywood, I'd say Deepika. I love. I wanna see how her life
देख
is.
South Asian निकल है ना अपने अंदर का.
And अगर मैं Hollywood में जाऊँ तो I used to say Jennifer Aniston. I always used to say that, right?
Friends fan.
Sorry?
Friends fan.
I love Friends.
Friends.
Always.
Old soul.
Yeah.
मैं कहूँगा old soul.
Oh yeah, I'm Friends, Office fan. Can't decide which one's better. Love it.
Without a doubt, Chandler is the best. वो तो है ही नहीं.
Yes. I agree.
ठीक है. चलो, if you had to pick a theme song for your life, what would that be?
Oh my god, I had this question in an interview, and
Seriously? अच्छा.
Yeah. My radiation interview, and they're like, if you had to pick it, I'm like, क्या भाई, मैं कौन सी question तैयार कर रही हूँ, asking me this. Honestly, I don't know. This is such a tough question.
अबरार की कर लो यार.
मैं सोच रही हूँ वही. But if I were to look at Dice specifically, तो मुझे जिंदगी ना मिलेगी दोबारा के गाने बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं, because I just feel like उसकी शायरी भी और उसके गाने भी, they just give you another like a new hope type of situation.
Yeah.
And I feel like to some extent I
नहीं,
want
उसके
to be
गाने
like
अच्छे
that,
थे
or I
वैसे.
just- yeah, तो
मेरा ख्याल है कि उस
उसका
स्टोरी के साथ भी ना there's this kid inside who wants to relate to that story. Habibi, I
exactly.
don't know why.
I actually posted like a video the other day asking people if they think Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara or Ye Jawani Hai Diwani, which one's better?
Nah.
And there was a huge war, and someone explained it properly. They're like, before 30s Zindagi Na Milegi, sorry, Ye Jawani Hai Diwani. After 30s Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara.
Aha.
And I feel like that was a perfect explanation.
That was a perfect. But even the name suggests that.
Exactly. So I feel like गानों में गया हूँ तो जिंदगी ना मिलेगी दोबारा के हर गाने में कोई ना कोई it was like a ray of hope or something that just gives you an uplifting vibe. और अगर उसकी शायरी भी देखो तो उसकी शायरी भी लोग गाने ही समझते हैं, and I love that. So yeah, I think जिंदगी ना मिलेगी दोबारा का गाना.
ठीक है. Good choice, I'd say. ठीक है, उसके सारे गाने, उसके सारे.
खाली जगह पर कर ले basically.
वो कर लेंगे हम अभी YouTube पे. Okay, so what's your favorite meme or any favorite viral video?
आजकल तो वो side eye चल रही है. I don't know if you've seen side eye, bombastic side.
मैंने नहीं देखी यार, मुझे लगता है चेक करूंगा मैं.
No, it's actually a very like Gen Z thing that's going on recently, but it's like कोई भी कोई इस तरह की चीज बोलता है जो थोड़ी weird होती है, so you just that stare you give them like this, so
Yeah.
it's basically side eye. आजकल वो चल रही है because I've been relating to that to everything. Anything and everything. जब भी होता है my siblings and I are like bombastic side eye. तो आजकल तो वो वाली मीम है. लेकिन एक और मुझे पसंद है. I don't know if you've seen it, I'll show you. I love this. I don't even know if it's a meme, but my friend and I always exchange this because it's an emotion. It's an emotion. This one.
Yeah. हाँ, ये देखा.
So yeah, this one I really like. And I think my meme.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm still here.
Are you there?
Yeah. Can you see me now?
My memes are, it froze and then came back.
Okay.
So my memes are more related to just how I'm feeling or whatever. So recently I just think this is so creepy and it's amazing. And it just explains so many things in one. I love it.
Chalo, ye bhi ho gaya. Okay, the last question. So, what's the craziest thing that you've ever done to make an Instagram video?
Oh, I'm not a crazy person, first of all, and second of all, मेरी Instagram videos ऐसे होती हैं कि I'm sitting idea आया चलो यही बना लेते हैं. But craziest idea, मुझसे public में चीजें बनाई नहीं जाती because I am so social, like I'm not socially awkward, but I just feel like it's so weird.
हाँ, होता है.
तो public में मैंने कभी शायद Instagram या TikTok की video बनाई नहीं. Now I need to go back to my videos and see इसमें सबसे crazy क्या थी. Hold on. I don't think there was anything crazy because I'm not a crazy person. Like I'm not like that.
Like you mentioned, you're an old soul.
Exactly. Perfectly makes sense. Most of my videos are probably just me sitting here actually. Because this is where I'm studying 24/7. And then मुझे idea आता तो I'm like, oh, let me keep my camera here and make it. But या ज़्यादातर मेरे school में होंगी, lab वगैरह में. And because I'm in my scrubs and whatnot तो मैं कर रही होंगी. But इससे ज़्यादा मुझे नहीं लगता मुझे अभी तक कोई नजर आई है.
चलो, we consider you an old soul and हम इसमें जाने देते.
Sorry, but this was not an interesting answer to
नहीं, it's all right. मैं उसको देख लूँगा किस तरह से उसको करना है.
I'm actually going through all my videos to see. मैंने कहा, wow, I've never done anything crazy.
So maybe I've given you an idea that you probably have to do something in
और मैं
not like but crazy, not interesting.
दोबारा का गाना बोल रही हूँ. This is kind of sad.
But yeah, I, it's not sad. मुझे लगता है कि it depends on people. मेरे साथ भी ऐसे होते हैं. So I remember when I went to Turkey, I had to make a video. It was not exactly a travel vlog, but I was just actually making comparisons of how Muslims generally in Turkey and do in public settings and as compared to people in Pakistan. So उसमें भी I could only do limited stuff. Whereas now I realize कि यार I could do so much जो मैं नहीं कर सका, but I understand there's a limitation at heart that I operate with, and this is a part of me. I can't really do anything about it. तो मेरा ख्याल है वो सही है यार.
No, I agree with you. And again, I've seen like other content creators, if you ever see them in just public, you see them making videos. And I would just look at them. I'm like, wow, I don't think I have. I'd probably say guts. Probably मेरे अंदर नहीं होंगे तो मैं मॉल में कर रही हूँ. Have you ever seen जो videos हो रही हैं आजकल लोग trains के अंदर underground subways के अंदर जाके वो dance steps बना रहे हैं.
Yeah.
I love dancing, but I always ask like myself जब मैं ये देखती हूँ, wow, I don't know how they did it. Like train में इतने लोग बैठे हैं, I could never. So if I were to do that, I'd be like, yeah, that's the craziest probably I would have done. But मेरा craziest होगा probably sitting in my car jamming to like a song, calling it carpool karaoke, and this is a series I did for some time. So this is my craziest because it involves I think my life basically involves a lot of me and my inner circle. So इसमें ऐसा कुछ crazy नहीं होता. अगर हम कर भी रहे होते हैं तो then I don't really have my camera on me or I don't really record that stuff. But yeah.
And I think that's
कैमरे के ऊपर तो मैंने नहीं किया.
नहीं यार मतलब सही है. मतलब आपको पता होना चाहिए who you are, because then you can understand and then you would also keep a tab on what you allow yourself to go through. और ये नहीं कि हर चीज ही जो है वो कर दो. Because as you mentioned कि वो सबवे वाली वीडियोस, मुझे उससे वो याद आ गया. there's this song सुना होगा वाला Calm Down. So उस पे जो है लोग आजकल जो है वो बना रहे होते हैं और they just steal something from someone and would just rush off और एकदम से रुक जाएंगे and they would give the other person a scare और वो मतलब I'm like क्या कर रहे हो
I know which ones you're talking to.
But I would
I love seeing those. I love seeing those, but I could never do those, right? और इसी तरह like probably जब लोग social settings में I think downtown जाके introduce कर रहे होते हैं, I've always been like I need to do those. I need to do those. And I have a list of content ideas and half of them are too daring for me. And I'm like, I need to do those, but then that would require going up to random people and be like, so, what are you doing there? And then like, who are you? So मेरे लिए ये बहुत होता है. Like I'm very extroverted but introverted at the same time. If I know you and I have to like act extroverted, I will be. But naturally, if you were to, I would not approach a random person on the street. I'd just be quiet. I don't.
सही बिल्कुल सही. But thank you so much, Areej. It was such a wonderful discussion that I had with you. मुझे इतना मजा आया. मुझे लगता भी नहीं था कि the podcast would go on for so long. और मेरा ख्याल है हमने तो इसके एक सीरीज से probably one of the longest podcasts that I've ever done on Outloud.
Really?
Yeah, मुझे अभी एहसास हो रहा है उसका. No, it's a good thing. So thank you so much. We stole you from your exam week for this 1 hour.
No, the pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Inshallah ta'ala, and hopefully jab next time you're in Pakistan we'll get to do this face to face.
Yes, definitely. Inshallah. I'm really looking forward to coming to Pakistan soon. So when we do, I'll definitely like to have this in-person conversation.
That would be even better than this, inshallah.
Yeah, technical issues में हमें नहीं होगा.
वो कर लेंगे. Okay, all right.